Hi.
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 I think this would be interesting to try and see. I mean, you've got a number of shots here, but I feel like in some ways, if the shot is working, don't mess with the shot. And it may not be throughout it, but it feels to me that I do agree that it'd be nice to have Harold walking up a bit more, a little bit more. But the other part of it is if this is the shot, maybe just let it play and see if it'll play in this shot rather than feeling like you, just because you have to, you want to or could, you could go to the shot.
Hi.
The question would be, does it play well in the other shot? So, for instance, in some ways, it's not a bad thing, directors, to look at, and editors, to look at beats and say, okay, maybe I move in as the beats move forward. So you have that opening little section there, and then we move to this one, and maybe this is the one where you come in and start moving in a little tighter like this. But again, I would try to see absolutely how long I can hold any shot. Remember that the main thing about editing is we don't edit unless it gives us new information.
Listen, about the
It
cookies.
just seems a little inconsistent, don't you think, Mr.
Listen,
Craig?
yes, it sounds very inconsistent,
You
but
know what?
these... No.
And I would say that, the thing that makes this section different is that the idea of the gift comes in. And so coming in for that new information doesn't have to be just plot information, but it can be emotional intensification, that sort of thing. But definitely we want to get into the world of showing what's in that box.
What are they?
And see, here you come back out to the other shot where I would say, gosh, once you're in there, try to stay into the intensity that you've built with those shots that are closer to the eye line.
I'm sorry?
I bought you flowers.
And I don't know that you need to have him reveal it from that side. Even if he reveals it from this shot, I brought you flowers, and opens it here, right? It might be interesting to see, because we can cut to it off of that look that she just gave. And then back to her. So I'd play around with that to the reveal, because the reveal as it is not, it's kind of a little bit clunky. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, here's the big box shot, right? It's like, ooh. Whereas if he even started that movement in the other shot and you cut to it from the other side, you'd be watching her and you'd be seeing the reveal from right there. And notice that this is the interesting action. She's going, what the hell? And then we could cut back to it. And then back to her. It'd be fun to play with.
That's surprisingly funny.
And, you kind of wait to cut to him, but maybe a little earlier. That's surprisingly funny. Cut rather than wait.
It took me all day to come up with.
You carried these all the way here?
I would have carried them anywhere.
Yeah, it's interesting. I think that following the emotional bouncing ball between these shots is really interesting. This one might even be interesting, Kyle, for us to sit down together and work with for a few minutes, because part of it is just really getting the sense of when we want to be on one and when we want to be on the other. And it's not a question of variety of shots or that kind of thing. It really has to do with the intensity of the emotional. So the funny, if we went to him on funny,
It only took me all day to come up with.
and then we cut right back to her.
Carried these all the way here?
I would have carried them anywhere.
I mean, yeah, I'm not sure. I'd have to just play around with this. It feels like it's just not quite there, but this is one time where it feels like moving out to this wider shot makes sense. We've hit the end of that beat, and the awkwardness has happened, and we move out here, and I think we maybe even said this in class, that the shot begins to work pretty decently there.
Miss Pascal, I've been odd, and I know I've been odd, and...
But again, I'd stay in it as long as I could before I came in.
What?
And maybe come to him off the two shot in for this.
There are so many reasons.
See, if that was the first time you came to him after you pulled out to that 2 shot, there are so many reasons would intensify the meaning
So
of that
many
line.
influences in my life that have been telling me at quiet times, literally.
Never did quite get that line. That would be one I think you literally could do in post and say it correctly, and it would
That
dub in
I should
okay.
ignore the common wisdom and come here and bring you these. But
No.
I did it because I want you.
Nice moment seeing her, and nice work acting wise, just being with him. Both of your work in this is really lovely.
You want me.
In no uncertain terms.
I think the in no uncertain terms would be an interesting moment to play with. Again, you get it one way, but then what if it were even deeper? If it was like he'd found a mathematical formula to the universe. Do you know what I mean? Because he's so unemotional in some ways. I mean, he's such an accountant in some ways, but playing around with that line as a really important one, which is like, I love you more than anything, he's trying to say, but he says it in a way that could be slowed down, made more intense, made deeper.
Oh.
Because in the end, it's her reaction is coming off the depth of it.
Wow.
That's
I'm
nice.
sorry. Isn't there some sort of established rule about fraternization with
Oddity protocol?
protocol? Yeah.
Yes. But I don't care.
Nice.
Why?
Because I want you.
And again, I think coming out of that one, we're so into that with him. I just stay in tight for it. Because I want you. Just stay with them. It's really playing nice in the back and forth between them here. It feels a little bit long that we've been there. I understand why you're staying, but maybe.
Do you mind carrying these a little further?
I'm thinking that she, that maybe she can just end up. Maybe you don't go into the tight shot for that. We like it, it's nice, but maybe not. Part of it is I think the cut doesn't quite work into it. I think it's a little bit like you need a little more time. She reaches. Yeah, we don't really see her reach in the other shot, and maybe she doesn't, and maybe that's part of the problem. So you might need to even cut into this slightly earlier, like if. Like right when she's like now, do you know what I mean? And then pick up this shot even further back a little bit, further back in the shot, so she's coming in a little bit more. It just feels a little jumpy.